Hello, welcome to Romantic Wednesdays with Poetry. I'm Alisa Agnes, your host, and I believe it's time to get real and spill some tea or coffee. So today I will continue talking about other addictions, what is philosophical, kind of stuff. And today's poetry pieces are called The Worth of Immaterial Things and about love. So, I guess I can read you the first poem right now, and it's quite long, while the second poem is I don't know how many times smaller than the first one, but I hope you will like this episode anyway. But it may be mainly about the first poem. So I guess at first I also have to tell you that it's also kinda romantic. I mean about love. So yep. So this is what these two poems have in common. But the philosophical context is somewhere there in the background anyway. So okay. So that's the worth of immaterial things. Sometimes such a thought comes. Who do I live for? Sometimes I feel useless. Does anyone need me? Sometimes everything falls apart. Who will have me to pick it up? Sometimes there's a heart sandstorm. Will anybody bright my day up? Sometimes I miss your smile. Do you feel lonely too? You're in my mind all the time. Can you feel it? You're my heaven angel. When will you fly back to me? You're someone who truly cares about me. Have you known this little thing? You're a missing piece of me. Do you see we complete each other? You're someone I've been looking for. Are you lost there without me? You appeared here so suddenly. Could you stay with me? This feeling isn't easy, but it's worth it. Don't you think? So that's it. So at first, I don't know if you noticed, but this poem is kind of similar to those few other poems that I've written in that period of time. I mean, in high school. And but I guess all those three poems that I've written that are very similar when it comes to the style, but I guess all of them are a bit different. I mean, there's always love, but once it's about just finding someone and you're just so surprised that that you may share your life right now. The second one was a very sad one when you just really really miss someone and you're hurting. This one it's also about love, but you also wonder who you're supposed to be, because when you're a teenager there's such a time when you wonder what you should be doing in your life. You wonder what's your purpose. Talking of purposes, This is what you heard about in the previous episode, but it's a little bit different situation because in the previous episode I talk about a purpose which isn't such a very direct kind of purpose, like you should become I don't know a poet, a writer, a copywriter, or something like that, or a doctor. Because it was just about thinking that you should do what your heart desires and this kind of things. So it was a little bit abstract, and this time it's this kind of question when you just start to wonder, okay, so what's this thing that I should be doing in my life, what it is, and you start to wonder. But that thinking about the purpose of life leads you to thinking about the loved one. So I guess this poem is this kind of way when you realize that it doesn't matter, to be honest, what you will be doing in your life, because this love that you found is the most important thing, and this is the only thing that you can think about when you think about your life. So yep, this is what this poem is about. I wrote this in high school, as I have already told you, and it's about searching for your, I guess, way. And yep, I guess I can read you the second poem right now, because I guess it's impossible to say anything more about this, because I guess this poem just says a lot without just explaining it. I mean, you just read it and you just understand what it's about. And what I needed to say, I just said it. So now I will read you about love. And yes, it's a very short one, but focus for a minute. About love. We can say that it's possible to live without love, but our lives would be very empty then. We can say that it's possible to live without air, but our lungs would be very empty then. So yeah, that's that's this poem about love. And it's a very short poem, but again, I guess it says a lot. It's just about comparing love, life with breathing air, and it's just like saying that love is all you really need in life. And this is this kind of reflection that the previous poem also brought. So we can say that we can do other things, but love will be always the most important part of our lives, just like breathing air. Because let's be honest, without air we can't literally live and breathe, because you know what would happen. And I just feel like this is exactly what would also happen if we didn't have love in our lives. It will be just really, really empty, and I guess it would lead to some kind of place when we realize that all we have is a really cold heart or something like that. So yep, it's just a poem which is comparing love to air and empty lungs. When you have no love, it's like you have no air in your lungs, no oxygen. It's a very simple idea, but I really like this. I still really like this poem because sometimes simplicity is the best choice, and that's why this poem is so short, because I guess it says what I wanted to say in a really good way. So yeah. And I wrote this poem also in high school, and I don't remember what kind of situation made me write this poem, but I guess it's very much connected with the previous one and with the purpose and just about thinking what love means. And um, the time of my high school days, it was 2014 2017, and I was 16 19, and I guess those 3 years was such a time when I was still amazed that the love that I found is so strong and so amazing, and sometimes it was tough, but this love was all I really had, I guess. And just thinking about life and that situation where I was in my life, it just all led to writing this kind of poetry. And it's very important to remember that a teenager wrote these poems a little more, I guess, maybe deeper. This is what the second poetry book of mine would be about. I mean, students' notes, opening eyes. And this book is slowly ending, just a few more episodes, and you will see what I mean. But I guess right now that's all that I can say about these poems, and I guess I can tell you now what will happen in the next episode. So we will continue talking about other addictions, and it's all still very philosophical, but it will stop being about just life. But I guess love will be still somewhere there, because the first poem is called About a Lie. It's a really long one, but as I've said, it's kind of connected with those poems about love, but it's probably more similar, to those poetry works about pain. So to that chapter, Tears of a Soul, but it's here because I'm just reflecting on the idea of a lie. I hate when people are lying, and I really do all I can to keep away from lying, and it's a really important thing to me to talk openly and to just share the truth. And this is what this podcast is also about. So it's a very important poem. It's a long one, and another one is also kind of long, and it's called The Power of a Word. So yep, it's a perfect kind of poetry for a writer and poet to talk about, and I guess it will be a very interesting episode for me to discuss, for sure. So yep, this is what is happening in the next week, and I guess that's all that I can say today, so I can only tell you right now, until the next time, bye. Alright, so now the forgotten part. Well, I guess you wonder why this poem is called like that. I mean, the worth of immaterial things. I gave this title probably a bit later, and at first it was named a bit differently, but I started to thinking what this poem is really about, and I thought it's all about immaterial things, and you know, the way this poem ends inspired me to call this poem in such a different way. I mean, it's actually about the worth of immaterial things.